We're live.
Hi, a very good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to all the young Indians to this exciting webinar with the startup hacker, Francisco Santolo.
Hey, thank you very much.
Hey. This is me, Rachna Jain, from the Young Indians National Learning Team. So, quick introduction to YI for those who don't know much. Young Indians is an integral part of the CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, a non-government, not-for-profit industry-led organization. Well, in the year 2002, we have inclusive membership across all geographies, 2,700 direct members in 43 chapters, and 17,000 plus US students from colleges. Impactful projects, we work in 3 areas: youth leadership, nation building, thought leadership, and we hope to engage the premier Indian youth organization, and we work on relevant platforms to solve a lot of India's problems. YI is also one of the proud founders of the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance. The alliance was founded as a movement to engage the G20 leaders in the cause of youth entrepreneurship and create a global network of young entrepreneurs, just like all of us. And one such collaboration is with the globally acclaimed Francisco and his company, Scalable. Well, Francisco is coming to India and we'll be there in Bangalore for an extremely engaging workshop, guys. And why I look forward to such fruitful collaborations in the future as well. Fran, a brief about you now. Francisco is an economist and MBA with General Management, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Studies from prestigious universities, Harvard, MIT, Kellogg, Stanford and Singularity, recognized by Forbes magazine as the startup hacker in 2017, guys. And besides a successful entrepreneur at a very young age, has 12 years of corporate international managerial experience. He's a co-founder, board member in more than 50 companies, credentials, entrepreneur. Also invited as a keynote to G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, member of ISIC Argentina Supervisory Board and charter member of TIE Delhi and Hong Kong. So Francisco, we're going to be having a wonderful session on the startup ecosystem with you today. So looking forward to it. Some of the points maybe how you want to let us know how the ecosystem works for us and how not to fall into its trap. All the audience, young Indians here, members, all looking forward to hear you. Before I hand the mic over to you, Fran, let me just surprise the audience that we will look forward to questions in the comments and we'll take it up thereafter after your session. Thank you so much, and over to you, Fran.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Rachana, for introducing me. Thank you very much for the leadership of Young Indians for the support, and especially to Laik, who was the author of this happening. Also to Saurabh from North India, who's been collaborating for this to happen, and all my peers there in the G20. I think it's gonna become very rich with the questions. So I inspire you to ask as many questions as possible in the end and to try to provoke. I'm going to try to provoke thought. I'm going to try, as I always do, to share a different view of the startup ecosystem and a different view in which you can work as businessmen and entrepreneurs. Just to share some context, I did corporate career for around 13 years. I worked for regional positions in marketing and commercial planning, and I was working for Latin America, then Europe, then Middle East. And I studied business in many of the main universities and was doing a traditional career. And then I found myself by chance connecting in Kellogg with this idea of networking, and then connecting in Stanford with these new tools for entrepreneurship. And what caught my attention is these tools were extremely powerful and no one was using them. So I first discovered that no one was using them in Dubai. Then I realized I'm gonna take Rashana out there. Right. Then I realized that no one was using them in Argentina. And then I started traveling the world and discovering the different startup ecosystems. I went to the main ones. Being in Stanford, I went to Silicon Valley. Then I visited Tel Aviv and Israel. I went to Hong Kong. I was there in London. And I started visiting different ecosystems, going to the co-workings, visiting the accelerators, visiting Y Combinator, going to the venture capitalists. I went through the Indian ecosystem. I went to Bangalore, to Delhi, to Mumbai. I wanted to go to Hyderabad and so many other places, but I didn't do in the first occasion. And what I discovered was no one was using these tools. Some of them were mentioning they were, but they just used parts of it. So tools like the business model Canvas by Alexander Osterwalder were used in a totally incomplete way, for some reason. And Lean Startup was everywhere. Everyone was talking about Lean Startup by Eric Rice. But no one knew really how to use it. I even started the experiment that the teachers and the trainers and the gurus and the professionals who were giving even courses on these things were explaining completely incomplete things. So, for example, Lean Startup, for you to know the business part about it, it's in the Startup Owner's Manual by Steve Blank. That is a fabulous book. And all these gurus, when I was asking about him, didn't even know the book. So this inconsistency drove me to start helping entrepreneurs in Argentina. I went back to Middle East to start this new venture. I went back without money, without investment, without any intention of building a company in the traditional way. I was gonna just put in practice what I knew from the books that worked. That was to look for a repeatable, scalable, and sustainable business model, which I could scale with investment only in the moment I knew that putting $1 in, I would get in a predictable way more than $1 out. And everyone seems to know this concept, like, of course, you need to put $1 in, take more than $1 out. But no one really knows how to do it, and the ecosystem is doing totally the opposite. If you see the ecosystem now, and if you see how new companies are built, it's all about having a plan, having an idea first, having an exponential technology that makes it interesting, and then going to look for investment. Everyone believes the way of building a company is looking for money. So you need to get the angel investors, or you need to put your own savings, and then you need to throw yourself into the idea as if it were the traditional model of building a new business when you're in a corporation. And what the books were saying is, this is not like this anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you assume you have a plan and you have a lot of certainties when you really only have hypotheses or guesses? Because you can know the market from your corporation, but it's totally different when you enter with another company, with another brand, with another level of exposure, with another group of employees, with changes in the business model, changes in the channel you're using to sell, etc. So the main change, and it's a big change, and everyone says they know this change, but then they don't use it, is there are a lot of tools to get to this real, repeatable, scalable, and sustainable business model and test it and reduce all the risks. When I say all, they are all. You can build a company that can never go bankrupt. You can build a company that every time is profitable, and you can build a company in a way that financially you can avoid risk. And it seems super complicated, but while I were in the G20 with many of your peers from Young Indians in Argentina, I was one of the speakers, and I had to choose the chance of showing them that this is like this. And I always ask the audience when they say, oh, we need investment to do a company, I ask them, what is investment? And in 100% of the cases, 100%, even when CFOs are there, even when people that has a lot of companies are there, millionaires, billionaires, they don't really know how to answer. Because the most easy questions, in reality, become the most difficult ones. And the people who are more trained and are more into complex things, we tend to forget the simple things. So, thanks, Paola, there. So, the important thing is like this. If you go to the question and you question yourself now of what is investment and why do I need it? What is economical risk for my company and when can I go bankrupt and what needs to happen? And if you go to the question of what is financial risk and how can I avoid it, we and everyone, just by thinking a little bit, can get to answers to those questions, and the answers are pretty simple. You just need to understand what are the causes of the three things. On the other hand, besides this possibility of doing things differently that we started doing in Buenos Aires and it became a huge success, just to tell you about it, in less than 2 years, we built like 200 companies from scratch, reformulated companies, started working with corporations, achieved lots of success through training people on this. First, we were an incubator, so I got shares from the companies. I got to have 56 companies in which I was running the board as chairman, and I was guiding people on a weekly basis, not a monthly basis, for them to do things. Companies were profitable, were growing. And then to follow this global dream in 2017, I did something totally atypical in the startup ecosystem. That is, I got back the companies to the founders. I gifted them back. All the time I had invested on them, I didn't charge for it. The owners of the companies received their companies back, and immediately they continued being part of our Scalable network. You can't believe it, guys. This is amazing. I need to show you. I have in my window, like I don't know if you can see, there's a truck there that is falling down, but not a cleaning guy. It's like a truck directly. It's a guy within a truck. Okay, it's fantastic. Don't worry, I will continue. So these companies were successful. I gave back the companies to the founders. I went out of Argentina trying to make the company global. And at the same time, we continued doing our courses in Argentina. And we now have a presence in 13 countries. This academy that we are launching in Bangalore is one city, is the first one in India. We will be in more cities. It's the first one in India. That's one of our 13 countries, a country I love, a country I bet a lot on. I really say I love it because I have many Indian friends. I think the Indian culture is very similar to the Latin American culture. We're very sensible people. We believe in family. We believe in taking care of our family. We love food. We love to dance. We love to have fun. And I'm really fond. We just came from Croatia. I'm glad to be a TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs charter member. And being Argentinian, for me, it's a real privilege. So we share the weekend in Croatia now with all the charter members. Let's go back to what I was saying. So, I have a question. Okay, because I gave back the companies because the most important thing we have in Scalable is like this. Those incubated companies were part of a community. And people who went out of the academy that I'm teaching now didn't need to give me shares of their company. They could do so only if they wanted to. So in the end, the most important thing for me became the community, to grow a big global community, because my purpose is to try to transform the world and try to help people. And I'm going to tell you more on why I believe this is possible and why I believe we're doing it already. So when this started to grow and I had the possibility of doing it global, I realized that spending my time and focus is one of the most important things in business. Spending my time in 56 different companies in Argentina would make me rich in Argentina. But I didn't want to be rich, and I didn't want to do something local. I want to impact the world. So I discovered by the academy that in each one of the academies, by having cohorts of 20 people, we were able to build from 10 to 20 new companies. And these people, with this training, were joining the community, and these companies were joining the community, and it's a community where everyone helps each other. So we built now more than 300 companies with more than 600 people globally. This is going very fast, and we have certain characteristics that are important. First, we help each other. We all help each other. We believe in giving first. It's something that I believe in, and it builds my business. I go to a new country when I open, and I talk to people, and by talking to people I help people, and by helping people then they remind you and they help you. When you're gonna launch, you find for synergies. You don't look to competitors as competitors, you look as everyone as a person. And then what I wanted to share is like this methodology allows you to build very successful businesses in the sense that it reduces risk, reduces the need for investment, allows you to see the future by thinking on the business model and what does it imply you to do. And on the other hand, it not only has an intellectual part, it's intellectual in essence, the methodology, but many of the steps you need to do are relational or intellectual or emotional. And the emotional part, no one is taking care of. And what I've seen in my career is majority of entrepreneurs are failing because of the emotional part. Many of us are not starting to become entrepreneurs just because we are afraid. Many of us stop being entrepreneurs because we need recognition by our peers. We need a hug. We need our family to say, wow, what you're doing is fantastic. Majority of entrepreneurs don't get that. Majority of families get scared. When things go super well, they are super over exaggerating, and when things go super bad, they only want to protect you and leave the thing. Some of them even before you start. On the relational part, something that's important, you never do a business to sell things to people similar than you. And we usually stay in small groups, non-diverse at all, and try to relate with the same people and try to know the same people. And in the end, we're losing a lot of the world. We're losing a lot of opportunities to understand who's who in the world. And if you don't understand that people are completely different, you will never find a target segment that's interesting enough and you know so well to offer them some new solutions. So that's important, and what we work in the academy are tools on how you can know your target segment, but know it really, how you can speak with them, how you can get into their hearts, how you can have a conversation one-on-one with anyone and see inside of them and extract the important information with questions. And in the end, one of the main concepts is business is giving value to others. Life is giving value to others. You have your own objective, you trace a strategy, and through that strategy you're gonna try to get your objective, and the only way to do that, if it's a personal thing, if it's a work thing, the only way to do that is to add value to every stakeholder, or at least to add just enough value to every stakeholder for no one to block what you want to happen. So all this political thing, all this, it's not more than a relational thing. So every methodology or any methodology that is taught to you linked to entrepreneurship or linked to achieving things needs to focus for sure on the intellectual, the emotional, the relational part. When we were at school, when we were at university, when did they teach you the emotional part? When did they teach you the relational part? When did they teach you the community part? When did they teach you the networking part? So it's super important, and it gives you a huge difference. Imagine we have 700 people in our network, 650, we'll have 700 soon, because some are enrolled already for many countries that haven't happened yet. And these people are from all seniorities, from every industry, from all locations. They have different connections. So for anything anyone needs, there's someone in the network who can achieve it. The same thing happens within Young Indians. So it's all, you know it better than anyone. It's all about looking for ways that this collaboration works. And what I found is this thing by building a global community. People in the world feel they are different. They are usually more similar than they seem. They usually all have this thing of love and fear. We are afraid and we want to be loved and we want to be recognized and respected, and we are afraid of being betrayed, and we are afraid of many things. And if you respect people and you make them feel in an environment where they can give and share and show the best, they will do. In many societies this doesn't happen because the incentives are totally corrupt. And let me link with another thing. The future is gonna be crazy, and the future is gonna open doors for every one of us to achieve our purpose, whatever it's more important for us, in a quite simple way. We've come from a past and we're living right now in a mindset of scarcity, in a mindset of things are tough, in a mindset of this will never happen, the world is a disaster. And for sure it can continue to be if people continue being so egotistic, or if people continue hurting each other. But exponential technologies, for example, together with the business model revolution and methodologies revolution on entrepreneurship, will allow almost anything to happen. Exponential technologies are technologies that double their potential, their power, their functionality twice per year, and they reduce their cost twice per year. These exponential technologies are AI, robotics, nanotechnology, Internet of Things. India is very capable in technology, so you're aware of many of them and you're working on many of them there in India. But what I see a lot in some ecosystems that are the best in technology, like India or Israel, is many people are working on these technologies that allow everything to happen, but then they can't put it into the business model or serve customers in the right way or find a market or put every part of the model together for it to work. And these exponential technologies have some characteristics, and then I'm going to ask a couple of questions. I see I'm receiving some questions. I'm leaving them more to the end to answer only questions. I'm 23 minutes live. In 7 minutes I'm going to cut, and we're going to open only for questions. I'm trying to touch different aspects for you to have more imagination on the questions and go anywhere you want to go. I love the questions that are coming there. We're gonna go through them, of course. You can continue putting questions there for me to answer when I finish, or you can ask them later, as you prefer. So these exponential technologies are growing very fast. And the concept of disruption, everyone is talking about disruption and no one knows what disruption is. And really, disruption is when in an existing market, a company using a new technology takes the place of the company that was previously there. For example, when Kodak was selling films, the digital cameras stole the market. When the exponential technology that allowed digital cameras to happen started, the power of the processor to have the quality of image that you needed and etc. was very, very slow. And it would take many years to get there. So many people in Kodak assumed this couldn't happen. But the thing is, with exponential technologies, everything happens very quickly. So things that we are imagining now, like the self-driving cars, for us to fly, for us to have cut our legs and put robotics legs and be Iron Man, and things like that, that we believe that will never happen, they will not only happen, but they will happen very quickly. As soon as you start paying attention to all these exponential technologies and you start following the right media and you start following the right people, you start discovering the world is getting crazy right now. If you check into the internet and see the human genome and how we can alter our DNA live with a software called CRISPR, check about microbiome, check about many of these things that are happening, and look in YouTube and you will see things that are unbelievable and people that are doing crazy things to themselves. So what I say is, if you combine all these possibilities that are coming with the exponential technologies and the disruption, the exponential technologies, there's this 6 Ds of disruption, and these 6 Ds are very interesting, and 3 of them that happen to all these exponential technologies are the democratization, the depreciation, and the dematerialization. Let me explain it very quickly. If you get a big computer that before, when it started, was only in the big universities financed by the state, because no one could buy them and they were huge. Now we have computers in our pockets. Those computers have dematerialized. Instead of being a whole room, now they're a little pocket cell phone. They have depreciated because now everyone can have the cell phone. Before, no one could buy it. It was very expensive. And it has democratized. We all now have the processing power of a supercomputer in our pocket. And when I say all, there are people that have many cell phones, and the world is advancing to a place where everyone in the world is gonna have a cell phone, even if it's poor. And the cell phones, imagine if it went from that size to this size, maybe they dematerialize completely, and we see them with HoloLens, or we see them with holographic things, or with like Google that try to do this Google Glasses. So the important thing is like this: technology will be available for all. It will be super powerful technology. It already is available for all. And what's making the world change is corporations are losing power and governments are losing power. And in a way, we all, as individuals, are gaining more responsibility and more power. And the thing that's not making everyone to become a very successful businessman by getting value to the rest is people don't understand the new business theory. People don't understand clearly business models, and they are using all this power of technology to do exactly the same. And teachers, consultants, and all the people who should help are profiting a lot from selling incomplete things that doesn't make sense. In this way, we were able to build this global company just by using that as a favor, as a positive things for us. We got the right methodology, we're teaching people to do things right, we're going through the unknown path, we are building real companies, profitable companies. We don't go for venture capital rounds, we don't go for things that inflate the value of the company. It doesn't matter if you will be profitable in any moment, as Uber now that it's a disaster coming, or even WeWork that had a lot of trouble and now they're changing the business model to AI to offer services to corporations. So in the last minute and a half that I have before the questions, what I'm gonna try to summarize is like this: everyone is playing a game in the ecosystem where the same people wins every time. The financial intermediaries win. All that is written and they teach you about entrepreneurship is very incomplete, and I will explain in the academy later why it's in favor of these same people. There are a lot of chances for any person in the world, doesn't matter how much they studied, doesn't matter anything, to build their own company. If we collaborate and we use the same tools, we have a same language. That's why what differentiates our community from other communities, we have the same business language no matter where in the world we are. Okay? And there are so many things happening. Corporations can't go to target every niche. Communications allows us to solve problems that before were impossible to solve. Impossible to solve. And we all have many opportunities, and we have the chance of starting now and solving them now. So just to finish, The academy that we're doing 2 days there in Bangalore is an opportunity to join this global community. It's an opportunity to learn these tools in an intensive weekend. It's an opportunity to reformulate your companies, to start new business units, to start new ventures. We're using it all over the world. We've used it for corporations. We're doing things that are pretty strong. Many companies are going global, many companies are getting very profitable, and no one has invested more than their time, their mind, their heart, and the capability of relating with others. I will open to questions. I will start with the ones that are written there. Feel free to ask whatever you want about me, about Scalabl, about startups, about investment, about things that you feel that don't make sense of what I'm saying. Provoke. That's the good thing about the academy. I'm standing there in front of very intelligent people like you everywhere in the world, and I love being provoked, and I love learning with the people in the course, and everything I teach is something I learned with someone else. We don't do things alone, so everything we can learn together is amazing, and I'm looking forward to change the world together with you, collaborate with you. And after this video, feel free to add me to WhatsApp. Feel free to talk one-on-one with me about what the academy is, what we're doing in other countries, opportunities. I'm totally open. The world that's coming is an horizontal world, and the best way of succeeding is to be caring about people and relating with people in the most open and horizontal and lateral way, and without believing one is better than no one. And the moment you believe you're more than the rest, you stop learning, and the future is all about learning continuously. So let's go to the questions. And thank you first for all of you to be here. We have 50 viewers. That for Facebook is unbelievable. It's a huge honor to be here. And let's see. So I had this question. I answered that already. Okay. We have chapters in 43 cities. We also have our student members in over 120 colleges. So what would it take to start a scalable community in all these locations? Anush, first, thank you very much for the opportunity and for leading this wonderful community. What I do for a living is just solving problems, because that is what any businessman should be doing. And those problems are people's problems, are others' problems. When you're a businessman, you think they are your own problems, but in reality, every problem in a company is just that you're struggling to make the thing work, to solve your customer's problem or your supplier's problems or whatever. So what I say is like this. This physical face-to-face academy I'm doing, it's to build the scalable community. It's to have representatives all over the world. It's to have people that believe in this cause to join, and people who believe in this cause to learn together, to teach each other. When you become an alumni, it's not vertical anymore. Anyone can teach, anyone can sell to its members, anyone can do whatever. I'm the community. I'm not the leader of the community. Our community doesn't have a leader once I'm graduate. It's totally horizontal. We just take care of each other. So what I'm trying to say is like this. It's like Young Indians. Many of you are part of Young Indians, but many of you must have friends or businessmen or important people that are not part of Young Indians. So not everyone needs to be part of the scalable community. So not everyone needs to do the physical face-to-face course. Now the face-to-face course is a weekend. So in a weekend we could, over time, decide different cities, put a date. If 10, 15 people enroll, because it's a very personalized thing, maximum 30 people with this format, minimum is 10 or 15. I can go there personally and do it, or I can send someone in our team of professors to do it, but I like to do things myself for the big community. But on the other hand, we're working already in an online academy. So many people will be able to do an online academy in the future, which will have the content but won't have the experience in a sense, and won't have this link to this super powerful network, and it's very transformative. So what I will do is offer this online course maybe next year for people to understand what it is. And I'm sure many people that start by that course then will come to the Physical Academy. But what I mean is, by having these online things, we will be able to reach more chapters more quickly. We can do things for the schools, or we can multiply. For example, if we want to do something for the schools, we could use people who are joining this academy and who are joining the community to reach the schools and go themselves to teach what we are teaching, or go themselves to work on a project there. Or we could do a special academy for young Indians in which, instead of each of us working on a different topic or on a different company or a different venture for ourselves, we all work together with the methodology to solve any type of problem. So there are many possibilities. I'm looking forward to discuss with all of you, and especially with everyone who wants to do well in the world. How does an entrepreneur retain focus with the world changing every day? Fantastic question too. I want to tell you this. The best way to retain focus is not to go the traditional business way. It's not to trust to go the BC way, where you give part of your company and you get people into the board that will ask you to stay for 3, 5, 7 years till you exit. And then maybe handling the company a little bit more because the contract tells you need to stay. The best way to remain focused, it's very paradoxical, but it's to have a flexible methodology in which whenever you discover some new, better opportunity, you're able to leave what you're doing because you're not full of fixed costs, you're not trapped into your company, you're not stuck there. You build something where you're able to fire the founder whenever you need, that you prepare teams to take your place, etc., to be able to follow the new opportunity. And if you haven't done that, you need to build something so flexible that even if you need to kill it to go for the new opportunity, with the methodology you can do it. So I remain focused because I have like my strategy of the different business units I'm gonna approach and Scalable, but I go one-on-one. I exploit one opportunity, I put it to work. If I can delegate, fantastic. If in the meantime I discover something else, I choose what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go for the next thing, or I'm gonna stay here. And I build the businesses in a way I can never lose if I change. Let me give you an example. I've been running academies in different formats. First it was 1 month with 4 sessions. Then I did 1 month with 5 sessions. The sessions changed their duration. Now in Dubai, someone asked me, why don't you do a weekend, an intensive weekend? And I said, no, an intensive weekend, no. But then I remember what I teach, and it was listen to the customer. If he wants 1 weekend, why not? So I organized the 1 weekend intensive session. Can you imagine this intensive weekend session we did in Dubai? Sold so well, and people were so excited, and people who weren't joining were paying the same money to go just because they wanted to be able to do it all together, focus on it. They didn't want to go and come, they didn't want to mix it with their work. That I tried it in other countries, and now it's the most successful format ever in every country. So really that's being flexible. The same thing when I told you I gave back the companies. Why did I give back the companies? For many reasons, even having something very, very good, like equity in 56 companies, made me focus a lot on those companies. I would never have built a global company if I had stayed in Argentina handling those companies. Imagine if I tried to sell my part and abandon my commitment of being the chair of the board. By selling the part, I would betray my community, and my community is the first thing. So the trade-off was very clear. I'm going to protect my community, give the companies back, and focus on the next thing, that is the Global Academy. And only then you go to the next step. So, building flexible models, not going the traditional way, trying to keep control of your company, understanding what you're doing, having the theory to be able to change from one business model to the other. Anush again, give us a couple of examples of exponential technology that India can use but is not there at the present. Fantastic. I'm not sure if it's there or not there at the present, but some things I learned there in Singularity. I mentioned this microbiome. Microbiome is, they discovered that we usually look at the human body in medicine sense, looking at the cells, trying to understand why the cells get sick. And they discovered that for every cell that we have, they didn't discover this now, they knew it for a long time, we have 10 bacteria. But no one was paying attention to the bacteria. I remember when I felt sick from my tummy, that my mother used to say, oh, you have your bacteria in the body, you need to eat this or that to recover the bacteria. But that was the only time in my life someone mentioned the bacteria. Now they say bacteria can be possibly more important than cells. So they discovered a way of analyzing this bacteria in our body, and they discovered that biodiversity in bacteria is the most important thing. And they discovered that when you don't have the right biodiversity, you get sick. And they even discovered how to do a transfusion from one healthy human being with a diversity of bacteria to a human being that is very, very sick without that diversity. So that's only one thing that I'm sure the world is not exploiting that can be super powerful. Imagine what an entrepreneur can do with that. The other is the human genome, that is knowing exactly our DNA and knowing exactly what every part of our DNA does, and especially they discovered how to change it. So human beings that are alive, we don't need to clone ourselves or and get another human being. We can edit our DNA and we will be able to do it ourselves in the future. So by knowing that, just by doing a test that it was super expensive before, but it depreciates with the exponential technologies, now we can know which genes do we have and we can know which propensity do we have to each type of sickness. So that's another thing many entrepreneurs are exploiting. Some of them are exploiting in a way that it's totally illegitimate. And then you can see, for example, the Terranos documentary, where they were promising things that were never happening. And everyone blames the entrepreneur there, but no one is blaming the system. And it's the system the one who forces this to happen. In every case, it's the system. It's not building real profitable companies and putting a lot of money for something that maybe somehow, sometime can work. Other exponential technology that will come soon is this AI. So we have Alexa and we have Siri and we have all these machines that are thinking and trying to adapt to us and learning. Machine learning is you feed information to a computer and lots of data, and the computer will be able to get to objectives that we have or to solutions that before we had to type the model in the computer to solve. And now, just by getting information, they do it quicker than us without we understanding what they do, but they get to solutions that we don't have. So it allows us to put AI into many things. Now everyone is trying to raise money doing the AI of this, the AI of that. People don't even know what they're doing. And technology, the most important things about exponential technologies is it's a huge opportunity for everyone on entrepreneurship, but you need to use it only if it leverages something on your business. Technology alone is not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Then solving problems, bringing convenience. Bingo. I agree completely, Raj. It's all about that. If you don't, this idea that everyone had of let's make the company big, let's have a lot of users, let's get first to the market, and not having a business model and not having a revenue model, not knowing how you're gonna win money later and saying, I'm gonna get advertising because I'm gonna have too many people. That doesn't work at all. If not, anyone in India and anyone in China should be millionaire, billionaire. And that doesn't happen because you need to know what you're doing. And the revenue in advertising is all for Google and Facebook. It's very tough to win money there. Everyone got there first. How do we use new big technologies, AI and ML, in small traditional businesses? Cheetah, it's what I'm saying. You just need to think in your business which problems consumers are facing, or with your knowledge, which problems you could solve in other markets, and try to see why, first, in which thing you have enough data to fit the machine. If you have some company that is generating a lot of data and your revenue model comes from somewhere else, it could be a good opportunity because the machines could do something with that data. For example, I saw machine learning recently applied to papers linked to research on, materials, chemical materials, and the machines had reviewed 3 million articles or 1.5 million articles and find relationships between the articles that, of course, no one found before. Because we write, the intelligent people, not me, the PhDs and the researchers, they write all these wonderful pieces of paper work full of knowledge, but then no one applies them. Because no one knows how to add value to people with those things, because no one is thinking about people. So the more technology we have, the most opportunities, but we need to solve people problems. In your point of view, what are the top takeaways or learnings from academy to a company irrespective of its size? Okay, I think, being totally sincere, the main learning from the academy is how to relate yourself with other people, and how you discover everything you achieved in life doesn't have to do with your own success or your own effort, as we sometimes do, because life is tough and sometimes we feel very alone. Everything good that happened to us in life has to do with someone else facilitating that somehow, with an approval, validation, or something. So what I mean is, you learn how to ask things from other people, you learn how to relate genuinely, you know how to relate to very diverse people, you know and realize, you learn how to collaborate in another way. It's unbelievable. I'm going to tell you something I always say. We human beings have advanced to a level that nothing will be impossible anymore, and technologies are unbelievable. But we don't know how to communicate with each other. And we fight all the time, and we do wars, and we get divorced, and we kill each other just because we don't know how to communicate. And imagine that if you don't know how to communicate, you will never understand who your customer, that is totally different than you, wants. So that is one of the things you learn. Second, you learn a bulletproof methodology tested over 1,000 times that allows you to build and solve problems in a very easy way compared with the traditional. And I think it's all about knowledge, and it's all about relationships. And on the other hand, you will know and discover something that's incredible in the academy. By getting near to very diverse people, you will discover what people value the most about you. Because we all believe we're good in something, because we had a life where we worked in several topics. Okay, I worked in sales, so I'm a great salesman. But then you go to the academy and everyone is asking you, I love your shoes, I love your shoes. And then on the second day they say, I love your shoes. And you always answer, I do them myself. What usually happens in the academy is that other people, and we listen and we learn how to read people and we learn how to actively listen. Other people are saying that they want your shoes and you should do the shoes for them. And maybe you discover that your whole life you've been willing to do the shoes and you didn't dare, or your father didn't allow you, or whatever. So the academy is an excuse and a present for yourself to discover really what your purpose in life is, and go directly to your purpose and to discover really what people love about you and what people value about you, and to get your self-esteem in another place. And the results are super powerful for life, because the tools we learn are not only for business, they are for life too. How can we use tech to overcome the skills gap in rural and developing states in India and leverage India's demographic dividend? I love that question. I think it's fundamental to start working on those things. And there are many social enterprises and there are many social entrepreneurs that now go even to countries they don't know. They travel to Africa, they travel to Asia, they go to countries and start using these technologies to improve the world. And we worked a lot in Scalabl linked to the agricultural thing. There are so many innovations linked to agriculture. I've seen, for example, you have solar panels that are generating drinkable water. Some of the problems that the real poor people are experiencing are so simple. Majority of the problems, for example, in one of the cities in Africa, was that the women were gonna go to search for water like for 25 kilometers, so they were walking the whole day to get there and whole day to come back, and they were going there, and then they had to move the water that was extremely heavy from one place to the other, and that took a lot of effort and damage to the body. And so a guy went there and invented just a tool to extract the water and take it in an easier way. And sometimes technology is the least thing you need. That's another important thing. You can get anything to happen, but you just... 3 questions. I think this is one of the most important things ever. First, how can I solve this? First, which is the problem? Who is this problem affecting? Or which is the gain? Which is the desire, the hope that I can solve? Who's affecting? Is this market, this niche market, interesting? It can be big enough if I cover a little part of it to get myself to my purpose. Okay, imagine that question is solved. Okay, which is the problem? Who's the problem? Then, can I do this? How can I do this? How can I do it without money? Is the first question. Do I really need to use technology? If I had to put it to work in 25 minutes, what would I build as a solution? By asking these questions and provoking yourself, you always get to solutions you would never expect, especially if you have the methodology. So I can assure you that just by using the tools and focusing yourself on doing the difference, it's unbelievable what you can do. And we have many social entrepreneurs in the community doing big differences. For example, we have, using technology, we have a guy in Argentina. He's a TED speaker now, and he lives in Misiones. And Misiones is a jungle. And in the jungle, they don't have the conditions to do wine. And they don't have the conditions to do many things. So what they were doing as crops was hurting the soil and was keeping people in poverty. So this guy was desperate to change this reality and trained and studied and went someplace and to the other. And then he discovered the solution was using what the jungle had. And what the jungle has is a lot of flowers. And with a lot of flowers, you have a lot of bees. And with a lot of bees, you can have a lot of honey. So he discovered a way, or he found out that there was a way, an ancient way, to do wine with honey. Nowadays, his wines are recognized all over the world. He's working in Argentina for the best vineyards that exist. And he did it all by thinking. He didn't put $1 in. The technology he used was just the necessary technology he found out could do the wine happen. And the majority of the things he's achieving has to do with relating with people, going to people, showing your vision, using methodology, selling the wine, doing a good product, understanding who's buying it, etc. For Fatima Batul, that tells us how can we think beyond AI and disruptive technology, very linked to what I'm saying. If you don't want to get into technology, forget about it. The only important thing about technology is to know where the world is heading, to know that it's heading there quick, and to know everything is gonna be totally dynamic. And it's gonna be so dynamic that you can't build the traditional businesses. You can't put a bookstore in the street and expect it to work. No, you need to use the new methodologies. But can you work with books? Of course. In our course, we have people working with yoga, with books, with pastry, with clothing, with textiles. We have so many physical and productive startups as technological ones. And I insist, many times people come with the app idea, the super technological app, and they go out with a simple web and something that solves the problem in a very more profitable and not technological way. and having within the people in the course people that love technology and people that don't like technology and people that want to do technology and people who doesn't want to do technology allows the people who don't want to do it to discover opportunities and see where they're starting by helping people who do like, and allow the ones who are doing technology to see that many of the best businesses in the world don't have almost any technology, or at least the exponential technologies we're talking about. That's not true. That can never be true because we all use computers and cell phones, whatever. But I'm trying to go to the extremes, okay? When we talk about flexibility in business model, how does one deal with capital intensive industries? Fantastic question. In today's fast changing world, capital intensive industries face these difficulties. Polkit, nice to see you here. It's like this. Part of the important thing that I teach in the academy is like this. Capital and machines and capital intensive things will be capital intensive for a while. Why? Because in the future we will all have a little 3D printer, and the future is coming up very quickly, that will allow us to get whatever we want and print whatever we want, and that centralization that we have now that had to do with mass distribution and mass production to save costs and have economy of scale won't happen anymore. Everything will be so cheap that will go to another place. So what I want you to tell is capital and assets are depreciating very fast. So building a factory yourself is like committing kind of suicide. You need flexibility, so you can build a factory that you can sell quickly, or you can need a factory that needs liquidity. But nowadays, for every machine you buy, there are many people buying the same machine. So you can always outsource to someone else. So I would be very, 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 very careful to build a factory and put a lot of investment in technology to give the competitive advantage just from your assets and just from your machines, because that can be improved by someone with more money. That can be improved by someone that comes next and has the chance of, for less money, buying better machines if you don't do it first. So you need to do as they did before, like you need to innovate completely, you need to have best products every time, you need to get into the state of the art very, very constantly, and it gets you into a lot of trouble, and it takes out the flexibility, and the biggest possibilities you will be disrupted by entrepreneurs who are outsourcing the things. So I don't see the manufacturing business, the production business with factories and whatever interesting anymore, because let me give you an example. For anything you're doing, I can do the same thing, outsourcing to other people, putting them together, building the process myself, doing it in parts with different suppliers, and selling more quickly, having the chance of negotiating with many suppliers in each step, and going to the customer and spending my time in finding the customer, in getting the best relationship, and getting more quantity of orders, and using the time in selling instead of producing. So before, you had the chance of being an oligopoly or a monopoly, and by having that, you had the chance of gaining a lot with capital. But what I want to tell you is beware, because capital is a trap now. And capital was, in capitalism, the capitalists were the rich, and now the capitalists are in a lot of risk and danger, and they don't know. So, but anyhow, it doesn't mean you can't have the factory maybe, but you can build whatever the rest are building. There are many cases of people building even rocket ships, or building, I don't know, electric cars and self-driven cars, that they don't have a factory. They're using external suppliers, and their focus and their competitive advantage is getting the customers or designing the car or other type of things. Cultures and relationships are different. How do you make sure you don't get into trouble in geography? That's fantastic. Again, we're putting together into our community people in different cultures. We have all the religions in our community. We didn't have one fight. People collaborate. Why do you think that happens? Because majority of the information we have about other nations is dominated by media, or dominated by politicians, or dominated by people who have a lot of incentives on getting power or getting money with certain things. And when you put people together that have more to win than to lose, in an environment where if you take care of others, you get a lot of opportunities, and if you don't, you get out of the community, people start behaving. And traveling the world, I can see that each country is different. In some countries, people kill each other. In some countries, people love each other. In some countries, everyone is welcome. You go to Canada, you go to Portugal, and you see very open-minded people that receive everyone there, and you see very cosmopolitan things. You go to Dubai, it depends. People are not so open, but you have many people collaborating in an ordered way. So every system is completely different. You can build a system in which people collaborate because if not they lose. You can build a system because people collaborate because they understand that loving others is good and that people are people and we are all the same. But it doesn't matter. The important thing is incentives make things happen. Thank you, Laik, for the comments, for opening this great opportunity for me. It's an honor to be part of this. It's an honor to be part of TAI. It's an honor to share the G20 with Indian people. It's an honor to be near CII and Young Indians. Count me as a honorary member. I want to help in everything I can. One thing I tell you is with Scalable, it's not that I went from Argentina to different countries and I did courses and I invoiced from Argentina. I'm building my company in every one of the countries I'm operating. And I'm trying to build a corporation that will leave a legacy after me. And I want to have local leaders from the place in each place. And in the future, I dream of a world where the local leaders in each country can be the leaders of other countries. But I don't want Argentinians leading the world. No, I'm a global citizen. I love people everywhere. I will love a community where nationalities are not important anymore. Nationality should be important because culture is fantastic and we need to conserve all that. We need to keep it. But if we can keep it in a way that we offer it to the rest and we all have the best of the rest, it's fantastic. That's what I feel. Yes, small and medium traditional enterprises. Sure, the future is about this. Even smaller, even freelancers, even crowdsourcing. The future is about individuals collaborating in communities. So I think India, by having such a base of entrepreneurs, because every businessman is an entrepreneur in the end, they are working for themselves, they have their family business, they build their business, you're one step ahead. And another thing I want to add from India is I love Indian startup ecosystem. It's not a cruel ecosystem. It's an ecosystem that's very healthy. And I always say this everywhere I go. And it's very healthy because universities are the starting point of it. I went to IIM in Bangalore and IIT in Delhi and Mumbai, and what I've seen, it's unbelievable. The accelerators in the universities are taking care of the students. They're helping them build with good methodologies. They're helping them build real businesses. They're trying to take care of them. Then the other actors in the chain can't kill them like that. Okay, guys, we're closing. We're over an hour now. I'm really, really grateful. I know gains with increase of valuation of company, but not with profitability. Do you think? BG Sharma, what I've sustained the whole video conference, and it's gonna be there online for you to see. It's all the opposite. I think it's not sustainable. I think it's not profitable. I think it's gonna fall, and we teach all the opposite. And our model, I can prove it's working. We have 300 companies working in a way we do reasonable business instead of those things. My friends, all my heart, looking forward to see you. Please feel free. I can't put my data here, but this is my email if you want. And talking with anyone in the leadership, you can email me directly or add me to WhatsApp. Talk with me on WhatsApp. Approach me directly in any social network. I'm all open. I want to relate with as many nice, good-hearted people in India, talented as possible, and I would like to contribute through you, because you never do anything alone, to change your country and change the world. And I'm open and willing and inviting you all to help me in this road, in this journey, in this beautiful idea of changing the world that now will be possible. It's more possible than ever. Thank you, guys. Take care. See you soon.